back onto this diagram, A25 is a power source. So if I shove this in here like that, you can see it goes to battery voltage, with the other pin of the multimeter in ground. And then if I turn this off and then measure, I get nothing. So basically I just need to tap into A25, which is the black with yellow stripe on the top right, this A connector, and that's going to be my power source for the solenoid. So when they say tap into A25, the power source, this is what they mean. You just remove a bit of this insulation here, don't cut through the wires, and then just wrap another wire around it and then tape that up, and then there's your 12 volt switch. There we have it. I just had some paper to stop any dropping solder or anything, but that's the voltage supplied to it. I'll just put some insulation on it. Now to get this in, you need to flick this trapdoor up, and all you do there is put a little screwdriver down there. You see it's the same at the back there. Bring that up a bit, flick it forwards, same the other side, and then you can just pop this little connector in. So just to show you, this is the connector you need. If you go to RS Electronics website, 712-1909, and if you get one of those out and have a look at it, this is what it looks like. This is the small pin connector. So that's that thing closed. Let's see if it all go onto the connector and it's correct or not. So just put these ends on here. It doesn't matter which way round you plug it in on the solenoid. So I'm going to plug it in and then we'll have a little test in Hondata. So in Hondata, obviously load your most relevant map. So this is mine. And then if you go online, test outputs, and then test PWM, you can hear it. And then if I change this down to 10, it's quieter, and 5, 25. So that is all working. Now I just need to place this inside the car or the engine bay and just do the mechanical connections. Tape these in place so they can't get pulled, and then just routing this inside the engine bay. Right, it's just started raining, so just to finish off this part of the install, got the wires just run here and then round to here, and then we've got the ports there all ready to be connected up. So before you saw me getting the 4-port boost solenoid connected up electrically, and now it's time to get it physically connected up with the ports connected. Also, you notice I've made this little bracket, not the nicest looking thing, but it's got anti-vibration little connector there with a rubber, so it goes metal, rubber, metal, and then from that I've had welded in this little plate to it. So that's M6 by 1.0, and so is the thread in there, and so is the thread in there. And all that means is that this is going to make quite a lot of vibration, and if you just bolt that solid to this plate, then that vibration is going to be sent straight through to this panel and it's going to start resonating, whereas this is going to damp the vibration between the two. It's not going to be as bad, so you'll still have radiated noise, but you won't have structure-borne noise. Anyway, do you care about that? Who knows? Let's place this into here like that, and then we've got to figure out how much length we need of each of these silicone hoses. I bought some new silicone hose, so you see here, I believe this is the 4mm variety in a diameter, and that slips nicely over these connectors. And then it's important, well, what comes with these with the wastegate solenoid is this little bit of information. It's quite critical. So you've got port A, port B, port in, port X. Okay, port A, which is here, it connects to the top of the wastegate. So top of the wastegate is here. Port B, which is here, connects to the bottom of the wastegate, so that is there. Port in connects directly to the boost pressure, so the boost pressure source I'm going to use is the same one that I was using before, so down there on the front of the compressor housing. And port X is vent to atmosphere, so that's why I've left nothing connected to it, but I will screw something into it, but it will just vent to atmosphere. You could route that back into your low pressure intake if you wanted to, I don't know, avoid any noise from it, of the air escaping from here, but really I'm just going to leave it just venting to atmosphere. That's going to be fine for me. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's just connect this all up. Obviously it means that when I drive to the mappers, I won't be connected straight to the wastegate, so I need to check what the default is when you're not powering this up and it hasn't been configured. But either way, I'm just going to pootle along and not boot it, so I'm not going to try and see any huge boost pressures. I won't need to. What I want to do is go in here, disconnect this air filter, so I can actually see the connector which is going on to the front of the compressor housing. Right, taking the zip tie off there. So it's not a bad time to actually just redo your Teflon tape jobs, so I'm just going to redo that like that, and obviously leave it so the last bit ends up, what a catch, ends up like that, so when you do it up, the end of the tape isn't ravelling up. If you do it the other way, it will just bunch up and it won't work. In terms of placing this solenoid on, I've just ground off the end of, you can see that a bit there, and that will fit up into here, and then I can just put the nut on afterwards. But before all that, I'm actually going to Teflon tape each of these port connectors. Just to be clear, start off like this, and then roll it round, maybe twice or 1.5 times, and then cut it off straight. Left with 4 of these nipples like this. To make it neat, so I'm just going to run a blade around this edge here, and that means that they will have none of this Teflon tape on the nuts and it should look a lot cleaner. Should leave you with 4 like this, and then we'll just tighten them into this with the 10mm single hex socket. Now we can fit the boost solenoid to the car and then connect all the lines. Okay, here we have it. I can probably finesse it a bit, but remember the one at the bottom there, the X, which is vented to atmosphere anyway, so it doesn't particularly matter the fact it's just shooting into this overflow tank. And I'll probably have it a bit more like that. Either way, let's connect this all up now with this little bit of instructions. So I'm going to connect the in port direct to the pressure source, which is down here. So let's do that first. We're going to use this heat shield because we're next to the exhaust still and the radiator, so I'm just going to use this little bit of tape on the ends as I passed it through, so I didn't get any of that fiberglass into the end of the line, and then I'm just going to place it on there, down there, and put a zip tie on it. So I've gone for the slightly thinner line this time because the connector I've got down there is smaller than I'd like, really, I guess, but it still works. It was working before. I haven't neatened it up and got the final length yet, but it's going to be something like that, and then into this top one here it says in. Then I just need to connect these up, and to do that I need to switch around where these ports are. So I'm going to blank off this port here, take that one out, so that was just leading down to the compressor housing before, so that gets blanked. This one at the top needs to get blanked as well, and then I'm going to open these both up to have the top one here is going to be going to A, which is at the bottom, and B is going to go to the bottom one, so they're going to kind of cross over. Teflon taped this little grub screw, and then what I'm going to do is just run a blade around the end there where I've got my Allen key, and that will just clean the look of the whole thing up. So we're getting somewhere these two sides are blocked, and then we've got the upper and the lower. So that looks pretty good. In terms of the connection, I'm just going to put some of this heat shielding on here as well, just because we're kind of close to the turbo. And that is going to be pretty much that. I just need to put some zip ties on all the ports, and like I say, the exhaust port there just remains open to atmosphere. Right, that's the finished product. We have top goes into A, bottom goes into B, the in goes around here down to the compressor front, and the exhaust, as we said before, just goes out to atmosphere just there. So that is that. Got a few more jobs before the dyno. The next one is going to be a catch tank install, and I've got myself a new cam cover with 2 AN10 ports, and I need to find a home for the actual catch can. It's quite a big thing. I was almost thinking down here might work, but we'll have to see.